Hello learner, welcome to Manifested e-learning forum. My name is Emlyn James Gwiri. We are looking at advanced financial management, real assets. And what we've looked at in our previous lessons, we've looked at first, so we're dealing with real assets, real estate rather. What we looked at in our previous lessons, we have looked at the sales comparison. Prior to that, we've looked at the definition of what real estate or the subdivisions of real estate. Subdivisions of real assets, not real estate. We went ahead and looked at the valuation approaches in real estate. Yeah. And then we had looked at the sales comparison approach, reason approach. We also went ahead and looked at the cost approach, and that is where we've actually reached as far as real estate is concerned. Now, moving on from over here, we will look at the income approach to valuing real estate. And then now under the income approach, we'll look at the highest and best use. Then we will move ahead and look at now the specific approaches in the income approach, which include the direct capitalization method, and then the discounted cash flow method. There. So this is what we're going to look at right from that point there. The income approach will give a brief definition or brief description on what the income approach involves. And then we will move ahead and look at the highest and best use. We'll move ahead and look at the direct capitalization method, and we will be able to conclude by looking at the discounted cash flow method of valuing real estate. So to start off this lesson, we will look at the income approach. The income approach to valuing real estate involves, you can say it involves determining value of real estate based on the income to be received. Based on income to be received. Under this approach, how much money is coming in once the property has actually been created or the real estate has been formed? What happens is that you will be able to let's say, for example, this is a building. If I can be able to just maybe wrap this, and so this is a building. The building has got specific floors like that. Assume that this is the ground floor level like that. So this is the first floor, second floor, third floor, and fourth floor like that. So the amount of rent that is going to be received by, say, this company X over here, based on 1, 2, 3, 4 floors like that, income, then you need to less the vacancy and collection losses. What are the vacancy and collection losses? The vacancy and collection losses, if, for example, say individuals do not want to go and have, take up this floor over there, for example, because it's maybe, say, too far up from the ground there, then you need to less that component of vacancy and collection losses. So if the income is given there, then you less the vacancy and collection losses like that. There's a figure there like that over here. Then you should be able to get the net operating income, or the what we're saying, the gross potential income, GPI. I'll be able to give a summary of that. So once you have the gross potential income, you need to less the expenses, so that you can be able to get the net operating income, like that. Now, to determine the value based on the income approach, we just need to know that value is given as the net operating income divided by a cap rate there, like that. This cap rate is defined as follows. So cap rate, I'll give a much more incisive description of the cap rate once we move along. But don't worry about that. I'm just highlighting some key items that we'll be able to look at through this topic review. So the cap rate is given as a discount rate. You less the growth rate. Now, there are times when individuals confuse the cap rate and the discount rate. The cap rate is a capitalization rate that is used to discount the first year net operating income so that we can be able to get the value of the real estate. The discount rate, this component over here, is the rate of return. To be more precise, the discount rate is the risk-free rate plus risk premium. This is the rate rate of return that is used to discount the expected future cash flows to today's value there. So that is the difference between the cap rate and the discount rate there. So I've just given a brief synopsis of what we expect to cover under the income approach. But before this, we look at all of this, we need to explain what the concept of highest and best use is all about. The highest and best use is very important because we say it is very important because the highest and best use does not mean it is the use that produces the highest implied land value, but instead we are saying the highest and best use on a vacant site is the use that generates the highest value once complete. Once complete there. So we put it down here. Highest and best use. The highest and best use of a vacant site and best use for a vacant site is not the use that provides the highest value once complete, it is the value that produces the highest implied land value there. So I'm saying the highest and best use for a vacant site is not the use that provides the highest value once. This is once. Complete, it is the value that produces the highest implied land value once complete. What is this highest implied land value? The highest implied land value is the value once you have excluded the costs that are used to develop that real estate there. And we'll be able to highlight this concept by looking at an example. So let's look at an example. An investor is considering a site to build either an apartment building or a shopping center. Once construction is complete, the apartment building would have an estimated value of 50 million and the shopping center would have an estimated value of 40 million. Construction costs, including developer profit, are estimated at 45 million for the apartment building and 34 million for the shopping center. Calculate the highest and best use of the site. So come on this side, solution. We need first of all to compare the apartment building once we've constructed the apartment building, or whether it produces the highest implied land value, and we compare that with the shopping center. So we have two columns here, or rather three columns. So we have apartment building, and here we have the shopping center. Shopping center like that. Now we need to compare, or we need to identify the value once the buildings are complete. So the value when completed is 50 million. Then we also have 40 million. There. Now we need to less the construction costs. That is what we are saying. We need to get the implied value. So less construction costs. Yeah. We have been told that the apartment building will require 45 million and for the shopping center will require 34 million. Now we get the implied land value by just subtracting the value of the building less the construction costs. So implied value, you can put a small line like that. Then you can see 50 minus 45, we have 5 million. There, 40 minus 34, you have 6 million. There. So it is clear that the one that produces the highest implied land value is the shopping center. So it's better to construct the shopping center. Even if the value of the apartment building is 50 million, you need to consider the costs of constructing the apartment building if it will be viable. The viability is important in terms of getting the implied value of the property there. So you can be able to clearly see that this provides superior implied land value as compared to the one that is the apartment building there. Now, we now skip now and move into greater details of the income approach. The income approach has got two methods used under the income approach. The first method, we have highlighted it over here, and the highest and best use is the direct capitalization method. And the second method is the discounted cash flow method. So direct capitalization method. Now, under this direct capitalization method, as I had previously explained, we need to first of all in order to get the value of the property, we need to get the net operating income. We divide that by the cap rate there. So how do we go ahead and get the net operating income? We have a summary that is going to assist us in computing the net operating income. So we have rental income. So we have rental income there. Then we add other income there. we get potential gross income. There. Once we get potential gross income, we less the vacancy and collection losses. And collection losses. So we put that in brackets like that. Then we have value there. We get the effective gross income there. So get the effective gross income. Gross income. There. Now we need, after we have the effective gross income, we need to less the expenses. Why are we lessing expenses? Because expenses represent an outflow of cash. So we need to less the expenses down here so that we can be able to get the net operating income. Remember, the NOI, or net operating income, over cap rate will give us value of the land there. That's what we need to remember. So we move ahead and less the expenses. So from continuing from there, this is not anything that we're lessing there, so we need to now continue from there, less expenses, so that we can be able to have expenses values like that. We now have the net operating income. That. Once we get the net operating income, we just divide it by the capitalization rate over there. Now let's look at an example so that you can be able to understand that concept of the direct capitalization approach. So direct capitalization approach, we first of all need to get the rental income, we add other income, we get gross potential income, we less vacancy and collection losses if there are any, and then we get effective gross income. Then we have the expenses, and then we less the expenses, we get the net operating income. Then value, come over here and say value is given as NOI, which is the net operating income over cap rate. That. Let's look at an example to reinforce our understanding.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to get yourself a copy of our professionally prepared study text and revision partners. Visit our shop along Tom Boyer Street, Pioneer House, 3rd floor, opposite Fire Station.